All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Cindy Saylor, who is a personal and professional development coach focusing on mental fitness. Cindy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much, Timothy.
Of course, and thank you for coming on the show. We like to jump right in. So if you could start with just telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Well, one of the things I absolutely love doing is hiking, being in the outdoors.
Mm,
And one of the things we do in Colorado, for all those who may be listening outside of Colorado, we have what you call 14ers. These are mountains that are 14,000 feet above sea level.
yep.
And a lot of them have trails, and we enjoy doing the trails, doing the hikes and getting to the top and going, I did it, like accomplishing something big and a defeat. And it's overcoming those things.
At what point does it start? It doesn't start at like one above sea
No,
level.
no. I mean, Denver is the mile high city or state city, which has been coined because it is a mile high above sea level.
Hmm.
A lot of these we're going to be starting probably around your elevation gains about 3 to 4,000 feet, which that means you're starting maybe around 10, 11, maybe 12,000 feet.
Okay. Okay. And how long does it take to hike 3 to 4,000 feet?
Well, for me, I'll just talk on my behalf. It could be an all day process.
Mm,
Going up for me takes a little longer. Coming down, well, I don't have a problem coming down. I'm ready to head back down the hill. But going up, it tends to be a bigger challenge for myself. So I usually plan about 8 to 12 hours. So it's an all day process. You're out in Mother Nature. You can't go wrong.
Oh, yes. Mother Nature cannot go wrong. 8 to 12 hours. That is wild. And so is it like, 5 hours up, 3 hours down type of thing? Or
I think that would be a good assessment. Yes.
how many
Yes.
steps do you get when you do this?
Oh,
20,000, 30,000, 40,000?
that is a very good question. And I've never even considered mapping the number of steps.
Yeah.
Eh, You know, the way, because they do switchbacks. So it's not like a straight incline, but they do switchbacks
Yep.
because of the steepness. And because of that, you're also putting in a lot more steps. And you also have to pace yourself. You
Hmm.
have to pace yourself. I learned that the hard way, thinking that I could just, okay, I can do this, and realizing my endurance wasn't quite there to get to the top. And some might think, oh my God, this is really daunting. But when you look at it, we basically tell ourselves, just get to the next step or get to the next bend. Or maybe it's let's hit like 3 switchbacks and see the progress you do. And then look at the next 3 switchbacks. And so we do it in sections. At
I got
least
you.
I do. I do it in sections. I enjoy the journey. And there's a lot of people that you meet along the way. You get to help people. Sometimes people are passing you, and that's okay. It's almost kind of like life, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like life. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. I love it. Well, tell us a bit more about what you do and what it looks like on the day to day.
As a personal development coach, I am helping individuals. I either speak at conferences or I do workshops for businesses or organizations. What I'm doing is I'm helping individuals understand a lot of times what's happening up here is getting in their way. And that comes with the mental fitness piece. We can, as coaches, we could really be gung ho to get somebody from A to Z. But if they're having a lot of these negative thoughts or talking themselves out of things or having like bad beliefs, we need to break those first and come up with better thoughts, better beliefs about oneself, and then be able to help individuals, get from A to Z. And so I typically start with what I call being an ant whisperer, automatic negative thoughts. So that's A is automatic, N is negative, T is thoughts, automatic negative thoughts. Let's combat those first.
Yeah.
Let's get down to the brass tacks. Let's take care of what's really happening up here to really make all the other efforts work. So my programs are for almost any age group, really, any age group, just to really have a better understanding that what's happening up here could be some trauma that happened when they were growing up. And one of the things that happened for myself, and what I've also learned, because I'm also a neuro linguistic practitioner, I know that that's a lot of big words. What that means is neuro meaning brain, linguistics meaning language. When I became a practitioner, I understood the things I heard growing up and how my brain processed the information were two different things.
Hmm.
I was diagnosed in 8th grade being dyslexic, and that's a learning disability, and it makes it difficult for reading, writing, memorizing, taking tests. Now, what I heard was life is going to be hard, difficult, and you're going to struggle, especially at reading, writing, etc. Well, my brain processed it saying I'm dumb and stupid, that I'm not like the other kids, that I'm not as smart as them. And a lot of times these things happen because our brain can generalize, delete, and distort information. And that is definitely what I did when I was in 8th grade. And now I've actually come full circle with my practice to help individuals understand that the things we hear and how we process it may not necessarily be correct. And you can actually rewire your brain and have better thoughts and better beliefs.
Mm, I like that. And so talk to us a little bit about rewiring the brain.
You know, our brain is designed to help process information. We can store all that information in our subconscious. And do you have like a knee jerk reaction? Like you might have somebody who knows, or we might say, they really know how to push my buttons.
Mm,
And are these like the knee jerk reactions? Are these things that we have taught ourselves? And is it the way the brain goes, oh, Timothy, I think you're in that type of situation again. And this is how you reacted before. This is how you're going to react again.
yeah.
And this is how we create those patterns. When we're able to find out or go a little bit deeper and understand, where did this start from? Why do I have this trigger? What is the trigger? If we can go a little deeper within ourselves and find that answer, then we're capable of saying, hey, that no longer serves me well at all. And then come up with better language. Like sometimes we'll say, I'm not good enough. It's like, oh, I am good enough, right? If we change our language and we start telling our brain, this is what we really want our brain to answer to, this is what we want to store, we have control. And sometimes we get lost in the thick of things and our brain just takes over. So I'd ask everyone to take a moment and think about this thought. Is your brain running your day, or are you telling your brain how to run your day?
Mm,
Because you're in full control.
yeah.
And we have these, what I like to call rants. A rant is when somebody goes on and on and on and on. Well, that's that rambling ant thought, right?
Yeah.
And you could have these negative thoughts on a regular basis. You could wake up with them. You can go to sleep with them. You have them throughout the day. But how well are they serving you? And then question them. If when in doubt, stop yourself and question those thoughts and ask, is this true? Is this thought I'm having right now true?
Mm, yeah. I love that. And so it's really awareness of like you're even being triggered. You can
Yes,
recognize it. Once you start to recognize it, it's understanding the trigger, asking questions about it, getting curious about it. And then after you're aware of it and you understand it, you can then put the autonomy into play and redirect it.
absolutely.
I got you. I got you. Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about your motivation. What really gets you up and keeps you going?
Whew. Realizing how many years I was hiding, that I was living life in silence and not telling my story, that is definitely one of my motivators. One of the other motivators is we are in and we've heard about it. We're in a mental health crisis. We were in a mental health crisis in 2019 before a pandemic was even going to happen. And now knowing what I do with brain health and also neurolinguistics, I really wonder why individuals suffer so much and how they get stuck in their head. And I want to be there to help them, especially being proactive, being more preventative. There are a lot of measures we can do, but it's more in that crisis mode. I want to get ahead of this crisis by being able to provide information, resources to help individuals that there is a better way. There is a better way. Life is going to happen. I have been through a lot of life experiences, good, bad, and ugly. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. I have chosen to have my own dialogue and narrative based off of my experiences. And I want individuals to have the same thing. And if I am able to help somebody overcome some of their obstacles, then that's success.
Yeah.
In sixth grade, our class lost a student due to suicide. And then when I look, so of course, my parents at the time were, we don't want to expose you to this. There's no need to go to the funeral. This is a big life experience. And I remember telling my parents, I want to be there for the parents of the student because they need our support more than anything. That's how I've always been wired. That's how I've always been, always wanting to be there to help individuals if they're suffering. Let's figure it out because life is not meant to be a struggle. You're not meant to suffer. It's meant to be beautiful. And since then, there are so many individuals that have committed suicide, that have lost their lives and attempts. And I really want to be able to help those individuals understand that what's going on up here or whatever that dialogue is, let's help you. Let's help you before you get to that crisis state. So that's what motivates me. It motivates me to help and make sure families do not have to go through the loss of a loved one and didn't see it coming.
Yeah. That kind of takes us into dreams and goals, honestly. So you talked about providing information and resources to show people that there is a better way in order to prevent suicide. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so was it that at that moment when you saw a classmate of yours commit suicide that you made that commitment, or was it something else in life that triggered that passion and focus?
I think it was at that moment.
Mm,
Having the dialogue with my parents that we need to be there for other people.
yeah.
We need to be there to help support them. I mean, I'm talking about something back in the 70s when we did have community, when community, a community raised a child in the neighborhood. That's what we had back then. So much has changed today. So much has changed. It is in my DNA to help people. There's no question about it. And it's one of those where I was meant to do this work. And I grew up with a family that worked in corporate America. And so I followed suit and I was miserable.
Yeah.
I was good at it. I excelled at it, but I still wasn't in alignment with something. There was something still off. And when I finally made the conscious effort to say, all the individuals who saw what I was capable of doing, of helping people, and they said, you need to do this for a living, I finally listened to them.
Yeah.
And that's after a 30 plus year career in the hospitality industry. I finally said, they see something in me that I need to see in myself, and I'm going to make that happen.
I love it. Well, let's talk other dreams and goals. So you got provide information and resources to show people that there is a better way in order to prevent suicide. What are some other dreams and goals that you want to talk about?
Oh, one of the biggest dreams I have is from a spiritual standpoint, bring having a conference for women, bringing women together that have given their all, because we're the nurturers of the family. We are the nurturers to do everything for everyone, and we tend to lose ourselves along the way. And it is to help crush the identity crisis that individuals go through to regain who they are, rediscover who they are, find that new purpose. So, as individuals who are going through that transition, that's one of my next projects that I'm working on, is bringing together a group of women in a conference style to help them create their true identity,
Yeah.
one that maybe was lost along the way. And so that's one of my next big dreams to make happen.
Okay. Spiritual conference for women that have given their all to crush the identity crisis that individuals go through to rediscover who they are, specifically these women when they're having children and kind of giving their all for a family. Am I understanding that right?
That's correct. And it could also be like my story, going into corporate America because you
Yeah.
were told to go get a job. And then all of a sudden you're like, this isn't me. And you're going through a transition. Like, what is it? And helping them find that path.
Yeah.
It's any woman that's been going through some form of a transition and they feel lost and they want to rediscover, redefine, be inquisitive, then be innovative and evolve with that whole process.
Mm, I got you. Well, awesome. Spiritual conference, providing information and resources. Honestly, those are kind of aligned. And what other dreams and goals do you want to chat about?
Well, I guess I would say on a personal level, I have this dream about having an RV and traveling the United States and seeing the small towns and maybe taking the road less traveled and just seeing some of the America that I haven't seen before. And that is my goal to make happen and take the business on the road with me.
I love it. I love it. Okay. We got three goals. You want to add any others? I like it.
Well, there could be a bucket load of
Oh,
goals.
come on. Come on. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Okay, let's just go really, really big.
Yep.
Really big. A goal of mine, I would love to be able to be in a plane and fly through a rainbow.
Really?
When you see the rainbows on land, it's like I want to be up in the sky, being able to fly through that and see it from that perspective.
That's interesting. Do you think you would be able to like witness the rainbow up close the same? Like, would you see the colors the same way?
I guess we're going to have to go find out.
I guess you're gonna have to go get your pilot's license.
Oh, now that is a possibility. That's a possibility. Instead of like you have storm chasers, I'm going to be rainbow chasers.
Yep. There we go. There we go. So get your pilot's license, be in a plane and fly through a rainbow, because you're a rainbow chaser.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes, it's connecting with that inner child, right? The one
Hey,
that's
yep.
curious, the one that's adventurous. We lose that along the way. So why not make that happen?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love it. I feel like yeah, let me know what it's like when you do it because I'm really curious of if you would actually like see it, feel it, experience it from up close.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's got to be there, right?
I yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's like flying through the clouds. So it's got to be there.
Mhm. There we
I'll
go.
keep you posted.
Please do. Any other dreams and goals that you want to mention?
Oh, I feel like we could always be like Miss America or Mrs. Universe and wanting to say we want world peace. Why not? Let's bring some peace and some calm back to, our families, to our neighborhoods. And the best way we could start doing that is by being able to take care of ourselves and then take care of one person at a time and let them know that they matter. Let
Mhm.
them know that we acknowledge them. That's the human spirit. The human spirit wants to know they matter, that they account for something, and to give them that hope that it's there.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
I really feel like I was on stage in my dress saying that.
There
Getting
we go.
ready to get my crown for Mrs. America.
Hey, there we go. It's like, what is that? I was talking with a friend earlier about The Secret. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes.
Yes, great movie, and how the law of attraction is like you can have something
Mhm.
before you have it. And I think you just experienced a little bit of that.
Absolutely. And a lot of that, when you talk about goals and dreams, it comes to visualization.
Hmm.
We lose that creativity when we have these thoughts rambling in our head. We lose the creativity of being able to visualize what we want.
Yeah, even more
And
so.
that's what I do in my practice is help individuals visualize it, feel it, smell it, get all your senses involved as if it's already done.
Yeah, I love it because even more so, a lot of times, not only are the ants taking up our visualization space, but it's making us visualize things we don't want, and then we end up getting that.
And yes, it happens.
Hmm.
And I would say that's a great challenge that we could give all your listeners is to actually test it, right?
Yeah.
If you're thinking negative things, are you getting negative things in response?
Mm.
Are negative things happening to you within that response? If you start thinking of rainbows, are you going to see rainbows? Are you going to start thinking of butterflies? Are you going to start seeing butterflies? It works the same way. Have you ever bought a new car
Hmm.
and then that's the only type of car you see out on the road?
Yep.
It works, right? It's like whatever we put our attention on with intention, either negative or positive, is going to happen.
There we go. There we go. I love it. Well, what are the top 1 to 2 skills that you could develop right now to make your dreams and goals come true?
Good question. Uh, okay, technology.
Yeah.
I was thrown into technology land in 2020. Go figure. When I wasn't able to go live and do a lot of presentations or meet clients, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do what?
Yeah.
It's technology. I think it's one of those where if you're not used to doing something or you're not born in the technology arena, it takes us a while, a little longer to figure it out or to understand how does this work? Why is this function this way? I'm usually the one that has all the ants questioning everything when it comes to technology. So, technology would be one of my things that I must and I will start practicing more to gain that skill.
Yeah, I'll have to be really intentional about learning and effectively using AI as it develops more and more.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence with that one.
Really?
I am.
What are you on the fence about?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we get a lot of maybe scam calls, a lot of these robocalls.
Hmm.
Okay, we're already getting robocalls, and I do believe yesterday I got my first IA robocall
Really?
in the regards of usually I don't answer phone numbers that are not programmed, but I've been doing a lot of conferences lately, and it's just like, oh, I need to answer for a period of time in case people are calling to get a hold of me. So I answered it, and here they are trying to sell me something. And I finally went, "Hey, is this a real person?" And they giggled. No, this is a voice through a computer, and I'm like, what? It actually said that.
Oh,
No, this is a voice through a computer. I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to talk to a computer. I don't want to talk to a computer. But let's ask you a question. I don't want you to ask me a question. And it was one of those where I think this was an IA call.
Yeah, I think Google actually has developed an AI that can cold call. And so I think you may have just experienced a cold call from a company that has access to that technology because it's definitely out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Okay, I'm old school. I've got a few years on you, Timothy. I'm old school.
Just a couple.
Oh, we'll share age later. But for now, I'm old school. I want to talk to somebody. I want to pick up the phone. I want to hear Timothy's voice. I want to hear his excitement, or maybe he's got doubts, maybe about doing my program. I want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And I do believe technology is getting in the way of us actually really being able to communicate.
Mm.
And the more we're able to communicate, the better conversations we're going to have.
Yeah.
Instead of allowing technology to do the thinking and speaking for us.
Yeah.
We need to empower ourselves to want to have those conversations. And even if Timothy says, hey, it doesn't sound like this is a good, program for myself, I'm okay with that. That's how we build our confidence. That's how we build who we are. We are going to hear no, we are going to hear yes, but to hide from these text messages, to hide from like a robocall to try to sell something, majority of the time you're not going to get me as a business. you know I'm not going to buy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy. If I want to talk to a person,
I gotcha.
old school, talk to a person. I know it might sound foreign to a lot of you youngins out there. I'm just saying, I want to talk to a person.
Yeah, yeah. I can't say the same, honestly.
Youngin, there we go.
Yeah.
Showing the age.
I'm trying to see, but here's the thing though. I don't mind interacting with technology as long as it can be as flexible as a person. Like a lot of times when you're getting like tech support online and it's an automated helping thing, they have like a subset of questions they can answer. And it's infuriating when your problem is outside of that subset of questions because you can't get immediate help. And that is very frustrating.
Yes. Well, the last time I had to go through the automated service to get to the right person took longer than if someone would have picked up the phone and had a conversation with me.
Yep.
Dial this, dial that. And it was like, whoa, okay. And then finally you've got somebody like, oh, you got the wrong department. Let us transfer you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I went through all those steps
Yep.
with the best knowledge I had to answer your questions, but to end up still at the wrong department, it would have been easier for someone to pick up the phone and answer the question. And we don't realize that. Are we okay not talking to somebody and pushing all the buttons?
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that.
I think ultimately
Oh,
it'll contribute to the mental health crisis if it invades our life too much. Like less and less human connection leads to more and more isolation, which leads to more and more time to ruminate on negativity. So
and maybe to get in your head
yeah.
and to formulate, different scenarios and different things that are going on. We do that simply by maybe misreading an email or misreading a text. We might read too much into something
Hmm.
when all you have to do is pick up the phone and get clarification.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm right there with you. Well, awesome. So technology is the skill that you need to develop. What
Yes.
are the daily actions that you need to take that will tick the needle forward towards your dreams and goals?
It's really be intentional with my day and really connecting to my purpose. And in doing so, that means each time I'm able to speak, if it's one person, if it's a podcast interview, if it's on stage or a boardroom meeting, each time I'm able to speak allows me to get the message out there to get ahead of the mental health crisis.
Yeah.
It's me being more visible. It's me saying, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do this YouTube thing and do all these videos and have the message out there for individuals to see. I will do more interviews for podcasts so individuals can hear the message that there are other ways. It allows me to really have that platform. There's one when I am out and about and I'm talking to people and what I do, oh, that's so needed. Yes, it is. But are people actually taking active action for themselves?
Yeah.
Yes, it's needed. And it's needed more when you actually start taking active action. And this is to all the organizations and business owners. There is more that we can do for one another. There is more that we can do for our staff, our employees on supporting one another. If you are saying it's needed, is it needed for you? Is it needed for your staff? Is it needed for an organization? Let's actually create like a new movement. Let's create a new movement that it's okay to talk about these things.
Mm.
Instead of saying, oh, it's needed, say, oh, yes, I need that, right? Let's change the language. Oh, I know someone who needs that. Or I know someone who would, share that with their staff.
Yeah.
We're stuck in a dialogue. We're stuck in a dialogue that says, oh boy, do we need that? Oh boy, is that needed? Yes. And let's take action to it. Let's take action.
Yeah.
So, my goal is to learn this technology piece, be able to load things up, have these messages on a regular basis, and potentially be the voice out there saying, there is a better way.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love it. What character trait do you most need to develop to make this dream life come true?
A character trait.
Yeah.
Well, you're tripping me up.
There we go. Let's
I,
see. I wrote down some examples like patience, discipline, focus, consistency, accountability,
well,
something in that vein.
discipline. You hit it. Ding, ding, ding. It's the D word. Discipline.
Yeah.
It's Yep, it's having the routine. And I think what happens is when we're uncomfortable with something, we'll ignore it. We'll put it off. We'll let the negative thoughts talk you out of doing something.
Yep.
And also knowing, okay, it's going to take a while to figure this out and to be okay with that.
Mm,
So I would say definitely discipline on my part and to hone the excitement and passion knowing that I'm going to change somebody's life to make it work. So I'm going to work on discipline.
gotcha. And what do you think discipline would look like in your life every day? Would it look like, spending an hour learning social media every day? Would it look like making sure you post two shorts or reels or whatever it may be every day? What does discipline look like for you on a day-to-day basis?
I would say knowing my craft of being able to speak and getting a message out there, it is speaking every day.
Mm,
And it is posting once or twice a day on a topic, maybe from the office, or even if I am out and about and I see something happen or I see a sign, capture that moment and make it happen. That would be discipline, is capturing a moment and making it happen.
mm, I love it. And if there were one or two people you could meet right now, this could be a specific person or a type of person, and they'd really help you take that next step toward your dreams and goals. Who would they be and how would they do it?
As I mentioned about the spiritual conference, one of the individuals would be Eckhart Tolle.
Mm,
Eckhart Tolle is all about connecting with oneself, the inner peace, the inner person. And that is one individual that would definitely help me be able to have a deeper sense of meaning for myself. And by doing it for myself, I'd be able to do it for others. I'd
the
be able to do
power
that.
of now.
The Power of Now. Yes. Yes, I absolutely love that book.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It is. It is.
Awesome. Well, now we're gonna jump into our thriving three. And speaking of
Oh,
books, the first question is, what's your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one of those three categories, and one within the category.
book.
Cool.
Atomic Habits.
That's a great one.
Atomic Habits, only because I'm reading it now. And remember when I say that I was a dyslexian and I've been overcoming that, reading, it was not one of my fortes. It was not something I enjoyed doing. And it's not about getting through the entire book in a speedy way. This is a particular book that actually you can do some applications.
Yep.
You can actually utilize some of the information right away.
Most of
And
it,
that's
really.
what I've been doing is each chapter I've made a goal that get through the chapter, but how are you able to relate to it or utilize it in the business?
Mm, yeah, I love it. What is one way you like to take care of yourself?
Walking in nature,
Ah, yes.
maybe doing that 8 to 12 hour hike.
I forgot about the hikes and the insanity. I think I've done it once. I've done one 14er, I think. No, maybe I did a I don't remember. Maybe I just did a 10,000 one. Oh, it was definitely just a 10,000. You did a 14,000? And
I've
you do
done
it.
7.
I was about to say you do it regularly, don't you?
Well,
Yeah.
I've done 7. My husband has actually done, I think, 32. And I do believe, and my number might be wrong, that but I do believe there's over 50 14ers in Colorado.
I thought there was like 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, we are blessed with the Rocky Mountains, and there's quite a few 14ers out there for enjoyment.
Yeah, I got you. Do you think there's somebody out there that just does a 14er every day and just that's their
Yes.
day?
Yes.
Oh,
And they probably can do it in maybe 4 or 5 hours up and back.
really?
Yes.
That's
They've
insane.
trained, they've been able to train themselves.
Yeah, I got you.
That's it. That's endurance. That's strength. That's amazing.
Do your joints hurt afterwards?
Oh, yeah.
Your feet?
Oh, yeah.
Is it cold up there?
It can be. And the weather can change. And you have to really know how to read the weather because if the storms are coming in, you've got to go down. And my husband and I actually had to do one of the 14ers 3 times before we were actually able to summit because of weather.
I see. I got you. And are there people on the 14ers saying, "Hey, it's dangerous, turn around"?
Oh, I think that only comes if there is a technical piece coming up
Hmm.
because some areas can be technical. And that's where I know my limits and limitations and say, okay, I've gone as far as I can go. Or if there's weather that's come in that we just don't see, that's a helpful hint
Yeah.
to let people know. Yeah.
You ever gonna do Everest?
I know my limits and limitations.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do Everest either. I'm probably
I'll
not even
get
gonna
I'll
do
get
it.
to a certain point and go, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah. It's crazy to me that the Sherpas over there just up and down, up and down, up and down.
But but they've trained themselves to do that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like it's in their DNA. They've trained their lungs, they've trained their body. They know when to stop, when to start. You know, talk about a skill that they've trained themselves at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is one action step you can take right now to get to your meeting Eckhart Tolle and having him be at your conference with you?
I'm gonna have to take one of his courses.
Mm,
I'm gonna take one of his courses. I'm gonna reach out to him and follow him on a regular basis for his insight and information that he provides. Yeah.
there we go.
I'm going to engulf myself.
All righty. Well, we got our final series of questions now. You ready for them?
Okay.
What is one limiting belief that continues to pop up in your life, if any?
I'm not good enough.
Where's it come from?
Childhood. It's pretty amazing when something that was so long ago is embedded, in our subconscious. And this is just a matter of understanding where it started from and overcoming it.
Yeah.
And then looking at our successes. And the best thing to do is write down your successes in life and have that handy and go, oh, hold on a second. I am good enough. Look what I've accomplished. And reprogramming. I get tripped up, Timothy. It happens. Even though the work I do on a regular basis, I still get tripped up.
Yeah. I gotcha. Do you have any limiting actions or inactions that reinforce this limiting belief that you're not good enough? Does the question make sense?
Well, it would be the lack of discipline.
Yeah.
I think we could actually go back to maybe the lack of discipline. And because of the limiting belief, not feeling enough, not putting some steps in place to follow on a regular basis, having that self doubt of not understanding technology, not understanding how it's going to work, trying to put it all together, taking a lot of time to do it. Yeah, I'm going to say discipline.
There we go. And if you were to change this limiting belief into an abundant phrase that really spoke to your heart in the way that you needed to hear it, what would that phrase be?
Are you ready for it, Timothy?
I'm ready for it.
I am happy, healthy, wealthy, kind. I love me. I love my life. I am glorious. I am effing glorious. And you could also say the F word, but I choose not to.
Okay. So I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, kind. I love me. I love my life. I am glorious. I am effing glorious.
Yes.
Love it. And when the limiting beliefs start to take over, what thoughts or actions do you resort to in order to
Mm.
take back control?
One of the techniques that I utilize on a regular basis, and it's also what I help my clients use, is called the stop technique.
Yep.
When you have these thoughts and you finally catch yourself, you say stop. And then see, the S stands for stop. The T stands for take a breath. Either one, two, however many breaths you need to take, because you want to interrupt that pattern. You want to interrupt that conversation that's going on. And then the O stands for what outcome do I want?
Hmm.
Ask yourself, what do I want from this? Or just find a way to come up with a question that forces your brain to shift. Once again, interrupting that dialogue and then to shift and then realize, oh, what do I want?
Yeah.
And then once you do that, praise yourself because now you have created a different pattern and just do this on a regular basis. Do it on a regular basis. If you want to change your behavior, you have to understand your thoughts equal an emotion. So if you want to change that emotion, do the stop technique.
Mm, I love it. That was a really good technique. Stop, take a breath, ask a question about an outcome or to get an outcome, and then praise yourself for doing that.
Yes.
I
We don't
always,
praise our, oh, I'm sorry, Timothy. We just don't praise ourselves enough.
yeah,
We could do 100 or 1,000 things really, really well. And what will we do? We'll focus on the thing that didn't go well.
I was about to say, I think the part I miss here, I'm good at stopping. I could probably take longer, deeper breaths, but I stop and just pause, breathe, think, ask myself a solid question, get the outcome, but then I always miss the praising myself part. I'm
Yeah.
not very good at that part.
Why aren't you good at that, Timothy?
Um, I think it's like I feel like in danger, you know? Like you must it's like good that you did that well. Now you have another thing you need to do well. And now you have another thing you need to do well. And you always need to be doing well. in order to like kind of just survive, which I know sounds crazy, but it's like there's a um it's probably because a lot of my I would not be bothered, which means my negative emotions wouldn't get triggered when I was performing well. And so, when you perform well, people don't really bother you. You don't have to, deal with and confront some of the negative emotions that you might have from people bothering you or being disappointed in you or hating you. And so I think that's why, even though I confronted the people pleasing part of me, it didn't necessarily get rid of the uh, performance, like the expecting performance out of myself. And I also think a lot of that was just to know a little bit about my story. When I was 14, I saw my family struggling financially. I looked around and saw other families not struggling financially, and I was like, I don't think there's a reason for us to actually be struggling financially. I just don't see, like, we just need to make some different choices, et cetera, et cetera. So I made a commitment to myself that I would do well enough in life to stop the struggle from my family. And so I saw that that required performance academically, performance on the football field, and you get into the adult world, it's performance at your job or performance in your business.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to parse out the difference of, okay, yeah, I think I've stopped people pleasing in my life, but parsing out the difference of, yes, performance is necessary for outcomes, but outcomes aren't necessarily needed for safety and joy and like contentment. And I think that's the link I'm missing.
I would say it is the link to joy, is to praise ourselves, is to let
I agree, which is why I
it
don't do it
is
because I have that
basically
other
it's like,
belief.
"Woohoo, I did it." Yes, it could be that simple. Woo! Instead of having that knee-jerk reaction and having an argument with somebody because they misunderstood a conversation.
Yep.
And instead of having that knee-jerk reaction saying, "Oh my God, you never listen to me. Oh, you're not hearing what I say," is to do that stop technique and then go, "Okay, what outcome do I want? I want to have a better conversation with someone. I don't want to be mad at someone. I don't want to be mad at myself. I want this to go a different way." Whoo, praise yourself. Yes, by shifting. And that's what we want to do with our brain is we want to shift that dialogue
Yeah.
and to
I think
have the brain focus on, okay, I did accomplish something.
I think that's what's so beautiful about thinking about the outcome and then praising yourself. Often it's like, so you think about the outcome and then you achieve the outcome, and then a lot of people tell you to praise yourself. But the act of thinking differently in that moment is the biggest win, honestly, and where the praise needs to start. And for me, it's like, okay, I thought about it, I applied it, I got the outcome, and then I felt like I needed another outcome. It felt like I needed another outcome, and I didn't praise myself because I'm always prolonging it. And the question is like, for what? Well, it's just this. You feel like you're in danger mode, and so you never take a breath. You never stop, take a breath, think of the outcome,
Yeah.
and then praise yourself for that change in thought. And that's the key to actually embracing the process. I feel like a lot of people talk about embracing the process, and then nobody really knows how to embrace the process. But I think praising yourself for doing the process in the process helps you
Yes.
embrace the process. So that's
Yes.
nice.
Yes. And we will praise others, right?
Oh
For all their accomplishments. So if we're willing to do it for other people, why aren't we willing to do it for ourselves?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really like, if you trace it back, a lot of it stems from childhood. Like some of that praise or affirmation, whether it be through words or of security or of love, are some of the things you wanted. So when you give yourself that affirmation of love, security, based on the words that you're saying to yourself, it starts to satisfy that constant danger that you always feel in or the constant stress that you're always feeling. So I like the stop technique.
It works. It works.
Yeah, for sure. I
I'd
love
like
it.
to hear your progress on that.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I really, yeah, the praising myself, it's constantly come up of like, this is the one thing that I just am not doing and I just neglect to do. And it's like, I do it every now and then. Like I'll have like 6 months of being hard on myself, and I'll look back and like, dude, you've posted a daily podcast for a year and a half.
Yes.
Clap for yourself. Enjoy
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
But it's like, even today, I could be like, you recorded a lovely podcast with Cindy, and you thought about showing up to that podcast earlier today. All of those things show your
Yes.
character, show the discipline, show who you are, and like are worth celebrating. So yeah,
Yes.
I'll yeah, keep you updated on that. We got one last question for you. Ready?
Ready.
What's your favorite belief about yourself?
Everything comes from a really good place.
Mm,
Everything comes from a really good place.
I love it.
Having the innate ability with good intentions, it comes naturally. I believe that I have lived the life I've lived to understand that people go through life and they have their experiences, but to also be able to help them overcome them
Yeah.
and have it's it's like a sixth sense within me to help guide individuals to be better professionally or also personally, and to know that there are 2 days that are it's a Mark Twain quote. There are two important days in your life: the day that you're born and the day you find out why.
Hmm.
And I found that out when I signed up to do, so this is, do we have a little time for a little story?
Go for it.
In that spiritual realm, I started to write a book knowing that it was going to be difficult and hard because of the dyslexia. It's like, well, we're going to accomplish it anyway. Setting out to do a book, I was like, okay, I need a resource. I need something to help me. This thing popped up on Facebook. What, once again, whatever you put out there, you're going to receive. And it was called Flourish Writers. I'm like, oh, that's what I want to be. Not a problem. I signed up for their course. And one of the first assignments they gave us was to find a passage in the Bible that means something to you. Well, not being a religious person, having potentially a Bible in the house, because that's a whole other different story growing up, I wanted to do something spiritually. So I was a little out of sorts. And I went, I would have, my old self would have said, okay, this isn't me. I'm not going to do it. And I went, hold on a second. I'm going to find a Bible. I'm going to follow through on this.
Mm,
And I remembered I had my father's Bible from his estate. And it was a little tiny pocket Bible. And I opened up the front cover, and it was Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine for all men to see.
mm,
And that was a pivotal moment in my life, that we do have this light within us. We do have this purpose to be of service. And that was a pivotal moment for me to say, aha. And that's when I reintroduced myself back to the Bible, that there are stories in there to help us navigate life.
yeah.
And then at the same time, we have stories to share to help others navigate their lives.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, Cindy, that is all we have for you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
This has been a wonderful experience, Timothy. Thank you very much. I hope I've given you and your audience a few tidbits on how to.
Stop.
Oh, stop. Yes. To practice the stop technique, but to be better, be a better version of yourself each and every day. Do 1%.
Mm,
I've made that pact. That's part of my discipline, is to do 1% better each day.
yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Cindy, thank you for coming on the show. Everybody, thank you for watching. If you're listening to this and you loved what Cindy had to say, make sure to check her out. All the links to do so will be down in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And on that note, we're out.